Festiie fam, the time is now. Festival goers unite. Welcome to the Festiie Files, where we highlight the inspiring and creative individuals who collectively come together and bring upon the festival experience. So, my name is Desmond Beristain, the CEO and founder of Festiie, the Festival Smart Band. And today, we're going to have some fun. Good friend of mine. She is an LA-based artist, songwriter, vocal producer. She has, let me look down the list here, epic collaborations with electronic artists such as KSHMR, Seven Lions, Armin Van Buuren, Steve Aoki, Sam Feldt, Alan Walker, Slander, Ghastly. Boom, boom, boom. The list goes on, folks. It really does. You have heard her voice. You have, in one way, shape, or form. She also has the best-selling vocal pack on Splice. So, you know what, needless to say, she's continuing to create and she's crushing it on all levels right now. Ladies and gentlemen, good friend of mine, welcome, Karra. Karra, welcome to the Festiie Files.
Yes, thanks for having me, Des. This is exciting.
Yeah, thanks for jumping on. So let's get right to it. So the reason why we kicked off this podcast, obviously during this current time where we aren't physically able to attend music festivals, right? But that doesn't mean that the music festival spirit has to disappear, right? There are still millions of festival goers globally, and we're all connected through something that we all love, which is music. So in light of that, keeping everything together, keeping everything on a positive note, and trying to just shed light on everything, we've kicked off this podcast, and we've got a beautiful response from the community, and we've really been able to touch upon so many stories, like literally whether you are someone who just attends festivals and to get lost in the crowd, whether you are a vendor at events, whether you are someone who is rave famous, whether you are on the stage providing the beats, dancing on stage or singing on stage, such as Karra, all play a part of the festival experience. So let's get into it. How are you doing during this, quarantine time? And let's talk about that.
Yeah, I've been doing pretty good. I live at home and work at home, and I have my studios here. And obviously, you've been to my house. We have a great view and lots of exciting things that we've kind of built and created here to keep us busy. It's funny because I am not a heavy festival goer. I do go to key points, but it's always for a reason. I feel like I was going to festivals at the start of my career more for just like getting the experience and meeting people, having fun, and now it's more of a career thing for me. So things haven't changed much in my life, but I do feel I'm a very big empath, and so I do feel kind of the brunt of everybody else kind of being impacted by it. And it does affect me because that means my music's not being played out to crowds, and I do get paid performance royalties on things that are screeching to a halt and things like that. But overall, in really good spirits, keeping things creative and fun, and actually busier than ever.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Exactly. It's funny. I spoke with you and Reed, and you guys are like, honestly, we're busier than ever because, we're used to operating at home. And now it's like, that's literally the emphasis. We're not having to travel every other week going somewhere.
I'm actually so grateful. I've been really itching. I'm actually starting my own pop project in the summer, and I've been really itching to get out on tour. And the universe works in funny ways. I feel like I was being kind of molded and prepared for something like this to happen because I've been building businesses from the ground up from home and that are sustainable from home. So I'm still making money, for example, with the sample packs. And just for the amount of collabs that I've done, kind of just collecting money on the back end for that, and I'm continuously working and writing songs and singing on songs and making deals with different DJs to get paid and stuff. So yeah, I mean, there's lots of different ways that you can get paid and kind of get through this time while we're waiting for things to kind of go back to normal.
Exactly.
I'm very grateful that it wasn't my time yet. So there's always a silver lining. So
yeah, you already brought up a couple topics that we're excited to speak about. Let's talk about the first one, where I mentioned people have heard your voice. Like if you've gone to a music festival, you've heard Karra's voice, whether it's a track saying featuring Karra or whether it's something that has been sampled. Like I've literally been with you when we're working out, and I'm like, hey, check this song out. It's just a song that I like, and I thought it was just, you know, a house song. And then you're like, that's my voice. And I'm like, so let's talk about that, how people literally have probably listened to you and heard your voice so many times without even really knowing.
Yeah, so basically one of my goals, I'm from New Jersey. I went to school in Nashville, and I majored in music business, and ultimately wanted to come out to LA to pursue, you know, electronic dance music and pop music. But during that time growing up, my mom was a voice teacher. So I was really like smacked in the face with vocal training and just learning everything there is to learn about voice. So I've been honing in my craft since birth because my mom was my teacher. So being in the house with her and just the work ethic that my parents had, it really inspired me to do something big. Like I don't like to do things mediocre. I like to go big. So one of my biggest goals was to become the voice of, you know, a generation. And the biggest and you kind of like the easiest way for me to do that, with not having a label, not having a hit song or anything like that, was to create these sample packs with Splice. And kind of basically what a sample pack is I record a bunch of phrases or vocal chops or effects, and I put it in a pack, and we post it up on Splice, and people can go and download. And I'm sure producers that are watching now have seen my packs or use them or whatever. They've accumulated, I got plaques for it, which is crazy because I thought my first plaque would be a song, but it was a sample pack. But yeah, I basically really wanted to provide the tools for people to create music who didn't have access to vocalists, who didn't have access to, say, the vocal chain or the equipment that I have or the skills that I have, when that's something that I've been working on my whole life. So being able to provide that just on a production level, and then hearing what people do with it. I mean, I've had samples in the David Guetta album. I was walking around EDC hearing my samples and sets. It was mind-blowing to me. And it was even nominated for a Grammy. Bring Me the Horizon used my voice is literally the hook in their song, and then Halsey recut that song. And it's just crazy what one idea, what can be birthed from that idea. And how I could penetrate the entire universe with my voice, my gift. Like I'm literally giving my one true gift to people in a really unique way. And that has just opened so many doors for me. And I think that's kind of what blesses my life in a lot of ways. I'm super grateful for that opportunity because it's connected me with people. It's given me some business opportunities. Now I have a vocal label with them. So yeah, I mean, I can go on for days about that. But being a part of the community and from like the ground up, and not just from a like showy perspective or like being famous or whatever, was really important to me. So I'm able to help the community in a way that helps me and benefits me, but also benefits other people.
Exactly. And you just mentioned it, you paved your own way. Like you literally, it's funny, we used this quote earlier today during our workout. We're like, create your own momentum. We were like, well, you know, there is this typical way of getting out there and getting your voice out there. But you're like, what if I do these sample packs, explore that, and then now literally people utilize your voice royalty free on tracks, and there it is. Like, how does that feel? How does it feel, like you said, to walk around, to turn on the radio or hear, and be like, damn, my voice is here, my voice is here, TV. What kind of joy does that bring you, and how does that keep you going?
Well, it gives me that fire to go even further and go even bigger than I could have conceptualized, you know, because for me, I did the packs, but I really didn't know how big they were going to blow up or what kind of opportunities it was going to bring me. But I think it's really important, if you want to create history and be a part of something like a movement, you do have to pave your own path. And there was a part of me that's like, well, I don't want to be known as the sample pack girl. Like, I want to be a top 40 artist on the radio and have my own hit records and win Grammys myself. But no one else did this. I'm the first person to have accomplished such a thing, and to be able to continue my career and have DJs want to work with me and have big pop producers want to work with me and know me from that is a pretty unexplainable feeling.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. And the cool part is
unique.
You can still get out there and release, you know, your own tracks. And you've had so many features. You've built up this huge network within, you know, obviously it wasn't overnight success. And we'll talk about that. Right? But you were able to do that. And then now if you do want to launch, and you talk about your pop project, you have the platform to do so on so many levels. And not only that, you've learned so much. So talk about that. Talk about the learning curve, releasing music, and then how your music got into the whole electronic scene. I'm not saying you're boxed in, because you're definitely bridging gaps within genres, but talk about that.
Yeah, I'll kind of go from the beginning. I mean, obviously I wrote when I was younger, but when I was in college, that was my time to really step up my game and become a leader and figure out what I wanted to do and how to do it. So even though I personally didn't enjoy my college experience, I didn't really like being in class. It was the time where I was able to explore who I was as an artist, a person, develop skills, learn how to cultivate a team and put people together and to kind of push out one vision. So basically I made an EP, a 5-song EP in college. And, you know, the song, I took the songs down because it doesn't represent me as an artist now, but I do have a lot of appreciation for that project because it sparked everything from there. Basically what happened was a duo called Massive Vibes, just an English random DJ duo, reached out to me and liked one of my songs on the EP, and they wanted to remix it. And it actually got posted on Proximity. So Proximity is one of the bigger EDM YouTube channels, and it got, you know, over 1 million views in a couple months, and it did really well. And when I moved out to LA, I was like, well, I don't know anybody in LA. By the way, I moved out here cold turkey.
Wow.
But I did have a few people that I had connected with in Nashville to like reach out to. So I utilized those few, probably 3 people that I can go to and be like, hey, who do you know that I could connect with or work with or just talk to, just to learn something? Because it's so important just to meet people and connect with people. So basically I connected with Blake, the creator of Proximity, when I moved out to LA, and he connected me with some people, and then it just kind of went from there. I interned at AM Only, which is now called Paradigm, and I was interning for Seven Lions and Cruella, all these people that I now work with. And you have to just kind of take, even though you don't want to be sitting in that office or don't want to be, you know, running food back and forth in the studio or whatever it is, it's so important to take on those positions early on so that you can just soak in that energy. I swear to you, there's something about being around people that work with such high caliber of talent or being around that high caliber talent is what transfers onto you. And like, I wholeheartedly believe that's how I became who I am, because early on, I got in the studio with Joyride before he was Joyride. I got in the studio with all these people before they were who they are now. And it's just like a crazy, weird, like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's just crossing paths with people. And then one thing kind of gets put into place, and then the puzzle starts getting bigger. And it's just like you said, the momentum thing. So I've been out in LA for 6 years now, and it took me 2 years to get a song out. Wow. 2 years to get a song cut and release. And that was with Breathe Carolina, was actually my first release on Armada. And from there, it just, you know, a DJ sees the song and hears your voice and they like it, and then they hire you to do something, and then it just goes. And then Seven Lions was like the next big name that I got a release with. And then from there, his whole crew wanted to work with me. And then I stemmed to this crew, and then that one. And yeah, it's just a matter of kind of taking those small victories to create, or like get to the end goal, the bigger picture. My manager always talks about the bigger picture. And even though it's not maybe something you want to be doing at that moment, it all serves its purpose.
For sure. You said it, you know, and then when you get to those milestones, and each milestone, you're able to embrace it even more so, right? Like with Festiie, we're a startup company. Our mentality is like, yeah, we're grinding. We hit this point, we smile, we look around, and then it's like, dude, ultra marathon. But that's
going to celebrate your wins as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I worked at Jersey Mike's. I mean, I had a part-time job. I was making sandwiches when my sample packs came out, when I had songs with Seven Lions. And, you know, it looks on the surface, it might look like someone's killing it. But to be honest, I wasn't making enough money to survive. And in the music business, it takes a long time to actually make enough money to start like living off of it. Yeah. So you have to be patient, and you have to build a thick skin. I got rejected 1,000 times before I heard a yes. I still get rejected. I still get, you know, ghosted by people that I'm working with, and it's like a never ending thing. But what's different now is that I have more control over what kind of projects and what kind of people I let into my life, because I'm at a certain point, you reach a certain threshold where you can make those choices for yourself. Mm-hmm. In the beginning, it's more about taking what opportunities you can to get to the next one and build your career until you're the one making those decisions for you.
Yeah. And you mentioned it, you had that relationship with yourself and that self-awareness, self-belief.
Self-awareness is huge.
Yeah. Well, first, let's talk about what it takes to say, hey, I'm leaving New Jersey or wherever I'm at, and I'm going 3,000 miles to the other side of the country to pursue this dream, and I don't know anyone. Like, talk about that decision.
You know what? It was a really easy decision for me. My entire life, I always felt out of place. And it's not that I love my family and I love going back home. It always makes me feel grounded, you know? But I just didn't fit in anywhere. And I always had this vision of myself on stage and making music and working in studios. And it was the most exciting thing for me. It wasn't even scary at all. I to be honest, I don't have a lot of fears in terms of things. When I'm so certain of something and when I believe in something so wholeheartedly, I'm not fearful of it, because that's only going to get in the way of attaining that dream. And of course, you know, when I moved out to LA, it's funny. I feel like when I was younger, I believed in myself more than I did in these last few years, because the industry truly chews you up and spits you out. When you're dealing with rejection every day, when you're not making money, when you're grinding and you're not seeing the results quick enough, or when things fall through and when people let you down, it definitely like alters the way you think about yourself, but at the same time it builds character. And so when I'm sitting here today thinking of who I'm working with and the music I'm creating, and I'm thinking about what I did to get here, it's giving me all the stories that I'm writing about in my songs. It's giving me all the emotions and all the energy and the feelings that I need to create life-changing art.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you kind of have to go through the shit to get to that.
Yeah. And that's the whole thing. Like, what's the coolest thing about superheroes? How they became superheroes.
Yeah,
the
totally.
origin story is everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just mentioned, like, sometimes you just knew, like, I'm going, like, for example, I got a phone call from the Philippines when I was playing basketball, and they literally were basically saying, I was in the States, they said, hey, you want to come to the Philippines and play? Literally, that's 5,000 miles away from Los Angeles. And they said 2 weeks notice, like, you have to be out here in 2 weeks. And I was just like, well, I'm going to the Philippines. And I could list 100 reasons why I should probably say no.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need that one reason in your heart to say yes, and then understand that you don't need all those answers situated, but going out there, you're going to make things happen.
You're just going to do it. You're going to figure it out. If you want it bad enough, you're going to figure it out, and it's going to be hard. It's going to be long. This is a marathon. It's not a sprint. You have to keep your head in the game. And of course you're going to get sidetracked and there's going to be obstacles. But like I said, that just builds your story, and it makes you a more interesting person to share, stories with and your life with, and to motivate other people. So it's a necessary step. And the number one question I get is like, how did you find your passion? Because a lot of people I talk to don't have a passion or don't know like what it is, and they struggle finding that. And I have a hard time answering that question because I just knew from birth, I knew that's what I wanted to do. I didn't even think about doing anything else. Mm-hmm. So I think some people just have that thing inside of them. And I think we all do. I think maybe some others just have a harder time accepting that and accepting good and abundance for themselves, which is a whole other thing. But yeah, I just knew.
Yeah. And I'm going to share a little story because, Karra collabed with a Festiie featured artist, shouts out to Senses. Yeah. And that was an amazing experience because I was like, all right, came to your crib, Laser Jungle Studios with Senses. And I was like, all right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go in there, and shouts out to Reed Stefan as well.
Yeah.
I'm like, these are artists. You guys are artists. You guys got to do what you do. So I literally just sat in a corner, and I was like, I'm literally just going to melt into this corner here. I'm not here. And let the process happen. And what I witnessed was literally like channeling. I literally witnessed channeling, like this transformation, the energy, and then boom. And literally within 30 minutes, there was a birth, a beautiful song, Cycles, dropping soon. May 15th. Talk about that. Talk about the process of creating a track and how maybe in the past you said it was 2 years before I released my official track, and then now you're actually at this level of flow and being able to tap in where, I literally saw you bust out a track in 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's just a matter of practice. And when I started, I struggled getting an idea out. I promise you, like the way you saw that took years to be able to develop. It's like when you hire somebody to do a job, and it's like you're not hiring them to do the job, or like based off of time. It's just they've accumulated that process because of the fact that they've been doing it for so long and they've mastered it. That's kind of where I'm at. I feel like I'm at my mastering stage, but it took years of really bad sessions, unsuccessful records and songs, frustrating sessions to be able to create, first of all, the space to allow that channeling, because I've worked in studios that were super uninspiring and really difficult writers. And like I said, it sucked at the time, but those are the things that taught me how to get to the level that I'm at now, to be able to crank out a song in 30 minutes. All of the songs that you guys hear, I write in under an hour. I don't like to spend more time than that, because if it's not flowing through me, if I'm not channeling it, I'm not aligned with what I feel like I'm supposed to be writing. So I really tap into the universe. I mean, meditation, yoga, anything self-care related, journaling, all of those things are what helped me be able to do my art at such a very precise and quick and, easy way.
Yeah.
It's like, even though the songs are, they're amazing. I mean, they're amazing songs. I hate like tooting my own horn. I've read.
I know they are. This
song amazing.
Off here. I'm always like, that's fire.
But it took 1,000 really shitty songs to get to that amazing song every time.
Well, you mentioned self-care. Let's talk about self-care in a couple different aspects, because everyone right now, we're all staying at home, and this is a time in which we need to reflect, not just as a community, right? Because of course we want to reflect as a community at music festivals and festivals, get back out there on an elevated level, conscious state of consciousness. But that starts internally with each one of us. So talk about self-care for yourself, and then also the importance of your environment. And the environment means the people you're around, right? The space that you are, spending your time in, and what you consume.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a journey for me. It's a constant journey. I have my ups and downs, of course, but when I first moved out to LA, I was so lost. All I knew is that I wanted to be an artist. I wanted to write and get my voice out there. But, I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know who to do it with. And I kind of just had to go through the motions. And, I've worked and hung out with a lot of really bad influences. I've been through a lot of hard times with people and myself. I wasn't a big believer and lover for myself, and that's kind of what was holding me back. And I have to be honest, when I started dating Reed, my boyfriend, Reed Stefan, he has an amazing YouTube channel, teaches production, if you don't know him.
Shout out to Reed, Reed Stefan.
Yeah. But it wasn't until, we started dating and he was my rock. Because in LA, you can get sucked into, the drugs, the partying, and which is okay to a certain extent, because I still do those things, but I do it consciously now. And I do it with a purpose and with the right people, because I know what kind of energy I don't want around me. So he actually took me on this journey. I went vegan for a while because of him, and I'm not vegan anymore, but it was a really important part of this whole thing, because I didn't know how to properly take care of my body. So when I went vegan and I started doing yoga and I started journaling and working out every day and stopped drinking and all of those things, it really helped me cleanse myself, and it helped me make sense of how to align properly with the universe to be able to accomplish my goals and be happy at the same time, because happiness is the most important thing. You have to find happiness. You have to love yourself genuinely. And that environment is so important. We were living in a 1-bedroom apartment in Sherman Oaks, and, I was being harassed by a neighbor. We couldn't use our speakers, and there was just like constant chaos around us. And we just decided that we were sick of it. We wanted to go experience something new. So we rented an Airbnb in the mountains. And that night was the start of the rest of our lives. We were like, this is what we want every day. we're gonna go find a house here, and we did, and we were able to build our studios. And ever since moving into our house, Laser Jungle Studios, we've created an experience for not only ourselves but for other people, and that's what pulls the art out. That's what pulls the inspiration and the flow out of people. You want to have that environment that you feel comfortable in. And you know, it matters who your company is. You know, friends and influences, you have to be careful. If you feel like you're going down a slippery slope, it means that you need to change up your friendships, and it's okay. You can do that. You're allowed to move on from people. You're allowed to leave toxic people behind. It doesn't mean that they're bad people. It just means that they're not right for you right now. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of my take. I've been through all of that.
Yeah. You've gone through I feel like you've gone through so much, and
yeah,
such a young age as well. But collectively you've been able to, look at everything and get perspective, and then give it back in a positive way. It's like a flower. It takes in the CO2, gives out oxygen. And then talk about, like you just mentioned, giving back. You're talking Laser Jungle Studios isn't just a place for you. It's a place for creatives, people that want to make good music and elevate and have that good vibe.
Yeah, I mean, we basically act as a retreat for people. A lot of our collaborators and friends want to come here to kind of get grounded and get inspired and open up their consciousness. And for me, that's really important to have, because I know what it's like to work in an environment that's not conducive for that. So I want to just spread that love and that energy, and it's a real thing. I mean, I make sure that the room smells good. I make sure that we sage. I make sure that the lighting's right and the mood's right. It all matters in terms of your mental health and getting the vibe right, getting those ideas out. It all correlates.
100%. Yeah. It's literally like we said, your mind is your creative sanctuary, and your space is your sanctuary. So why, wouldn't you take care of that? And I know sometimes we get caught up in the world, and everything's moving so fast, and our goals, and we need to do this and this and this. But it's also good to make sure you take that breath.
Yeah.
Look around and make sure things are good here before you go back out there. So
I think that's so important. I think it's so important for everybody to build, like you said, their little sanctuary at home. When we were living in that really cramped 1-bedroom apartment, we did our best to fill it with life. We put plants everywhere. We changed the lighting, and we just did anything that we could to make it something that it actually wasn't, to help us mentally.
Yeah. And you don't, like you just said, you don't need millions of dollars, because people always think like, oh man, the artists that I hear on the radio, or the artists that are killing it, like they just snap their fingers and then they just blew up overnight. Like, no, you could be having, she just mentioned she had a part-time job. They had to make sacrifices to get to the point they're at now. And guess what? In order to get to the next step, they're going to continue to make sacrifices in different ways. It's beautiful to see the progression, and that progression allows the story to be told and inspire others. So if someone's at home right now, just a quick 3 tips to, like for example, I got my little DJ setup back here. I'm just dabbling, but let's say there's a vocalist at home right now. She's going through that. She's working part-time, and she's like, man, I know I have it. I just want to break through. What are 3 tips you have just to a creative at home who, is kind of going through it right now, but to tell them that there is something to this?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is just keeping that belief and that hope alive, knowing it. The belief is the most important thing, because if you don't believe in yourself and in your vision, it's never going to come to life. So that's number 1, belief. Number 2, manifest. It's really important to manifest your goals, putting that out in the world. And it's okay to ask the universe or God, whatever religion you are, for abundance, for all of those things, that's a necessary part in order for you to actually receive those things. So believe, manifest. And I think right now, like in terms of if you don't have access to say like a studio or other people, just consume as much information that as you can online, because there's so many people. I know I'm posting things every single day that's useful, that I'm showing people how to make money at home. I'm showing people how to protect their voice and how to, you know, edit their vocals in Ableton. There's just so much out there. So do your due diligence and go search for those people that will help you through this.
Yeah. And for example, you just mentioned Ableton. Like, what? Yeah. How do you know about Ableton, right? I thought you just sing. Talk about all the skills you had to acquire. Talk about how there's songs out there that are literally written by you. And just, how you, initially you're like, all right, vocals, but that doesn't mean that you don't have to understand how everything works, right? And there's always more out there.
Yeah, so a big part of my transformation when I moved in with Reed was a big frustration of mine was that I had to rely on other vocal producers to produce my music. So the most important thing, if you are a vocalist or if you are a producer, a good vocal mix and vocal production is crucial to actually getting songs out and released on labels. People don't realize how important that aspect is, but it's probably the most important of everything because the vocals are the centerpiece. So I was relying on other people, on other people's schedules, and Reed was like, why are you doing this? You can do this. And he's like, you're the one who's been vocal training. You know your voice the best. You are familiar with software. Why don't you just learn how to do this? I can teach you. So yeah, I just started doing it. I started editing and recording my own vocals. And in a matter of a month, I was recording my own vocals and releasing them with artists. And granted, I'm not a professional mixer, so I do need Reed's help with that thing. But I also found the value in partnering up with somebody that's good at something that I'm not. Mm-hmm. So building teams is so important. You can't do everything yourself. You might see artists say, oh, I wrote this whole album, I produced this whole album by myself. No, they didn't. They had a team, they had a mixer, they had a mastering engineer, they had a label, they had a manager setting up their sessions and things. It doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't happen alone. You have to build that community. And even though we're in our houses in quarantine right now, when we're out of that, you should be already starting to find those people online. It's so easy to do that. I just started this thing called Discord, where it's like a chat room where people can go and all my fans are talking to each other. And I have a collaboration section where people are looking to collaborate. So there's tools out there, but it is, you have to be skillful in so many different areas. You hear my voice, but you probably didn't know that I wrote a ton of songs for other people. You probably didn't know that I vocal produce a lot of other artists. And guess what? It's my vocal training and my vocal engineering that is what's getting the songs where they need to be released. Mm-hmm. So I'm coaching a lot of people. I'm using my skills in lots of different ways. And yeah, you can't be a one-trick pony. You got to be a business person. You got to be an artist. You got to have a vision. You got to have the skills. So, the list goes on. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of work. On this side with Festiie, we're like, hey, let's create this smart band that keeps everyone together. You know, we're festival goers and we're doing this for the community. Yeah. And then in 4 months, we'll be out in every festival and hurrah. And then here we are 4 years later and we're still trucking along. We're still pushing. But you know what? We're passionate about what we're doing. So it makes it okay. You got to make sure you really love this. Because you're going to put in so much time. That's the only way. If you don't love it like that, it's going to show. And when you love it like that, it's going to show too, though. Yeah. So,
and at that time, I'm not necessarily, every couple months, things shift and things change and you have a different focus. And right now, even though I am a vocal producer, I'm not really focusing on that right now. I'm focusing on pushing content and creating a story for, you know, to build an audience. And it's okay to focus on one thing for a while and then kind of shift and then go back to that and then integrate it. It's a constant ebb and flow.
Exactly. Well, let's talk about the constant ebb and flow. And well, one thing is constant. Every time I jump on IG, every day you're there, you're posting, you know. Let's talk about the content creation journey, because yeah, you're getting after it on that end as well. And I know, like, people might be at home thinking, oh man, social media takes time, it takes work, it takes effort, but that's your brand. And if you don't, you have to lead the way first, right? Like, you have to be the one that's saying, I need to push my brand, I need to do this. And because if you're not willing to do it, then what makes you think someone else would be willing to do it? So talk about how the content creation is key, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, whatever platform, but showing that. And then the cool thing is, you place another emphasis where you don't just show something and then you tell the story behind it, and you have that intimate bond with your followers, with your fans.
Yeah, so content was really scary for me for a long time. I felt like I didn't have anything interesting to share. All I could really think of was to take pictures of myself, and to be honest, like, that's good and all, but there needs to be more to the story. So with the few resources that I had, I started this thing called Advice by Karra, and I just started giving advice on different music industry topics, lifestyle topics, and it started picking up steam, and I started noticing my interaction and my followers going up. And at that point, I really didn't have that many followers, but it was really exciting to be, I felt like I was onto something. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, this past fall, Reed and I went to Atlanta to talk to the guys over at Cymatics who create sample packs for producers. And we got a crash course on content. And it was literally like that. Just a couple hours spent with them, and they changed our entire view on what kind of content we need to be pushing. It's really important to just have things that are relatable, that are like useful information for people to learn. Thinking of creative ways just to show your everyday life and who you are as a person. And the possibilities are endless. I've done covers, I've done little videos on how to create a track out of your voice. I've done little tutorials on TikTok and things. And, you know, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of effort, but sometimes you can just think of something stupid and fun to post. Like I posted the other day, me walking from the studio to my hot tub, and that took the least amount of effort to do, but it got probably more views than my TikTok that took me 5 hours. So you have to be open to different kinds of content and different kind of effort you're putting into it. And you also have to be really diligent on all social media. You can't just have an Instagram. You got to have an Instagram, a YouTube channel, a TikTok, a Discord. You have to be on everything, because there's different audiences on those social platforms.
Mm-hmm. And I'll say this, it's like, we're all at stay at home right now, but my whole thing is like, I'm like, well, if Karra and Reed aren't traveling, they're already on stay at home. They've been on stay at home, like, because you just mentioned all these different platforms, at the same time, writing, producing, you have to sacrifice. Like, it takes time. And if you care, like, it's just, honestly, it's easier said than done though. Like, just talk about sacrifice. Like, you know, you just said it. You used to attend music festivals. We all go through this journey where, well, at least us now on the other side of things. Yeah. We go to music festivals, we love it, we fall in love with it, and then we end up now on the other side, we're giving back. But in order to give back, you have to sacrifice so much. Talk about the sacrifice, because in order to get somewhere, like, people don't understand that, because it's just like such a, you know, they want it now. Everyone wants it now.
No, I see this quite a bit in the industry. you have your partiers and you have your people that are actually serious about their work and making an impact. And so I'm just not interested in wasting my time. So I have like this like light on me. But it's like, sorry, I'll try and move away from it. But yeah, so one sacrifice I made was socializing. I don't go out anymore. I only save it for really important events that I go anywhere. And same thing with, you know, drinking or anything like that. You wake up with a hangover, you're not going to work out. You know, you have to think about those things, and it all correlates together, and you have to find the fun in that. I enjoy waking up and working out now because it's part of my routine. It makes me feel good. I know that I'm one step closer to my goal if I'm implementing those things in my life. So yeah, you are sacrificing time with other people, but at the same time, that makes room for the people that are really meant to be there in your life that you could actually create something with. Like, for example, I stopped hanging out with a lot of people and going to festivals, and now I met KSHMR, who's my right-hand man, and we work together all the time. And same thing with Reed and a few other key players in my life. I wouldn't be spending so much time with them if I was preoccupied with something else that didn't matter.
Exactly. And it's funny because it's not like you're not attending festivals. You're attending festivals when you get the Instagram pictures and videos of like slander, and here comes a drop, boom, a debut at a festival. It's like, oh, Karra is here. You know what I mean? And she had to work hard and sacrifice to be here in this form.
Right. So, well, it makes it more exciting too. You know, when I don't go out to shows and go to every festival on the lineup, whatever, I do show up to certain ones, and guess what? Those are the ones that I'm on stage at, and those are the ones where I'm really networking and building relationships for the future, because it's crazy. It's a progression. When I went to my first EDC, that was the first time I ever saw my song being played. It was Saving Light by Gareth Emery. I co-wrote that song. So I saw him play that at Circuit Grounds. Then the next year, I saw Seven Lions play my collab with him, Silent Skies, at Circuit Grounds. And then I also performed a couple of the sidecars. What are they called?
Cars.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm sorry. And then the next year, I actually performed with Audion at Circuit Grounds. So for me, it was like, okay, get the experience in as a festival goer, learn what people like, learn what the experience is that I'm writing for, see the songs played and see how you feel when you hear them. And then actually get on a little stage and perform and get the whole like, I don't know, just kind of like breaking the ice a little bit, and then you get on that stage.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's a lot of sacrifice because I'm not wasting my time partying at these festivals anymore. I'm there with a purpose. I am having fun, but it's more important to me to build my passion and career.
Exactly, because when you lay your head to rest at night and you reflect upon the day, you know that I gave today everything I have. Yes. You know what I mean? And that feels good. And sometimes it might mean cutting out certain things, but the people that do love you,
will stick around.
Yeah, they'll stick around. Exactly. You're beaming right now, by the way. Don't worry about that. There's a light flashing on Karra. She's just beaming.
I don't know. It's like some weird fairy angel thing.
Hey, when you keep it real and authentic, that's just what happened. The light just shines naturally.
But I lost a lot of people along the way because they didn't understand that. And even though it sucks at the time, it's all good. It's just that your paths aren't aligning anymore, and they were there for a specific reason. And then, you move on to the next thing that's getting you to the bigger picture.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
Letting go, right? Because we all, and this is another thing, we're staying at home. Look inwards, everyone. What do you think is holding you back you know, and I know it's hard. Sometimes it's bad habits. Like we said, people you're around, things we're doing. It's sometimes you have to learn how to let go of that. Even your own, if you made mistakes, you made those mistakes. You got to let it go so you can move forward. And guess what? Like, let's say, for example, my quote unquote best friends at the time, they're just not good influences for me. And I really want to focus on producing music or following my passion, right? And it might be a year, 2 years. Maybe they reach out in the future and say, hey, man, you know what? You were right about what you had to do. I'm proud of you. And boom. And then instead of being like, yeah, I told you, and da-da-da, and you just be like, well, I appreciate that, because that shows that your change and you're moving forward inspired them in one way, shape, or form, even if it's just to reach out and acknowledge you. And it's better just be like, well, thank you, man. I appreciate that. You know what I mean? And now all is well, and it's good. You know what I mean? Like, it's easier said than done, but that's why right now is the time to reflect in that manner.
Yeah, I think also a really exciting part of this for me is that when the time does come to having fun and going and experiencing something, I am able to fully immerse myself in that and get even more out of it, I feel like. When you have those designated times to go get inspired or go to a party or a festival or whatever it is, I just feel like it hits you harder and you get more out of it.
Yeah.
Besides spreading yourself too thin.
Yeah. Well, okay, so you just performed, like right before quarantine and everything.
Yeah.
You performed at the legendary Hollywood Palladium, a venue that you literally vividly posted on Instagram. You said, I used to go to shows here.
Yeah.
And then now I'm freaking coming out for KSHMR set and performing, a very hot song, right? Devil Inside Me. KSHMR featuring Karra. Check it out, everybody. Talk about that experience, because going into this quarantine, and of course you had to regroup afterwards, but at least being able to feel that energy one more time before this kind of quarantine, and then I'm
super happy that we were able to get that in before everything hit the fan. But that was the first venue that I had been to out in LA, and once again I saw Gareth Emery and then Seven Lions and a couple of people that I now work with. And I think for me, when I go to shows, I'm always visualizing and thinking about what I want out of it. And with the Palladium, I wanted to be on that stage so badly. It was a burning passion inside of me and a goal that I wanted, because that's just one of the biggest venues here. And we made it happen. And to be honest, I was supposed to perform with Armin Van Buuren the night before at the Palladium as well as the KSHMR show. I was supposed to be on that whole tour, and things fell through. And I was really upset about it, because that was going to be my first tour around the US, and it just didn't work out, and I could have taken that opportunity and been upset about it and have it destroy my entire week, or I could have invested all of my energy into the KSHMR show, which is what I was supposed to be doing anyway. And I was able to go to dance rehearsals and do an entire choreographed performance because I wasn't on tour. And I think that really changed things for me, because it helped me bridge the gap between my choreography, my dancing and performing skills that I did when I was younger, and to bridge it with what I've been working on these last few years. And I wouldn't have gotten that otherwise. So Rejection is the universe's protection. Even though I love Armin, I love, their whole team, and I just wasn't meant to be on that tour.
And you said it. It's all about how you, respond. And I'm saying that word lightly, but, you took a hit, and then it's like, oh, ouch. Am I going to let this keep going? Or am I just going to be like, okay, I took a hit, boom. Now I'm going to keep moving forward. And then you put on this epic show, then literally the following night, and there it is, like, boom, and then now you're feeling great again, and you're like, oh, it was supposed to happen this way. It makes sense now, and now I'm back on the positive track. So with that happening, let's talk about what's next. One of the things I love about this podcast is we just try to blend so many different genres and people from different areas, whether you're a hip hop festival junkie or an EDM head, and just talk about that. And like, we're all festival goers, we're all invested in music, in sharing that creative energy. So you yourself, let's talk about what's next for the future of Karra and why we should all be excited about this, because I sure am.
Yeah, so I love EDM and I love working with DJs, but at the end of the day, it's not my bigger picture goal. So it was kind of a step for me to get to this next step that I'm entering in now, which is also another important part or important interesting thing about me and anyone's musical journey is that it's a journey. You know, what I'm doing now isn't what I'm going to be doing forever. So yeah, I'm really excited to finally be launching my pop project in July. Obviously, Reed is executive producing it. I don't want to spill the beans on who else I'm producing it with. I know Des knows, but that's it. I want it to be a surprise. It's really exciting because it was a dream of mine. I've been wanting to work with this particular person since freaking ever. So yeah, it's the next thing is pop. And I want to get signed to a major label. I want to do my own vision and my own thing, because the thing with EDM is that, unfortunately for vocalists, it's hard to feel like you're an equal contributor, because it's just more of the focus and more of the attention and the praise is just put on the producer and the DJ. It just is what it is. And for me, I just crave more for myself because I know I'm capable of so much more. And yeah, that's the next step. I think virtual tours are going to be the next big wave. And I'm not just talking live streaming. I'm talking about full production touring, like filmed out, produced dancers, different camera angles. And that's what's going to be, you know, sold to consumers as a ticket. Until we get to that next step, I know that there are talks of all these festivals opening up in the fall. I don't want to be a pessimist. I just want to be realistic about it. I really hope it happens, but there is a chance that it might not. So I think it's important to still like think forward and think of ways for us artists to connect with our fans. And yeah, it's going to be the streaming, it's going to be the virtual tours and the animated tours and things like that.
Yeah. Well, let me say on behalf of the EDM community, we love your music. We love the footprint and the imprint you've had on the community. And literally, like I said, we could play songs and walk around and you'll hear your voice everywhere. So, you know, it's exciting because the pop, you know, genre is going to love everything you bring, and you're bringing in new angles and new aspects. And that's the beauty of it, is that you're willing to experiment. You're willing to try things. And I think every artist has to deal with that, like, and talk to themselves and say, well, do I want to try this? Am I willing to do that? And when you are willing to step into that light, boom, you're just, you know, going to be able to shine more, and your story is going to inspire more people. So we're stoked for you. 100%. We're stoked. She mentioned it, you know, whether we are back at music festivals in October or if it's in 2021, we're going to be back out there. It's really important this time at home to reach out. You know, first reach in, talk to yourself, deal with yourself. If you're having a good day, you need to reach out to someone else that maybe isn't having the best day, right? Reach out to artists, whether it's photographers, vendors, people that are at home making candy, people that are producing music. Comment on their social media, like, show love right now, because that's what's going to carry us, and it feels good. So Karra, talk about that, because I feel like you have a really deep connection with your following. Like, you respond a lot, you open up a lot, and talk about how it makes you feel good to hear back from them. And especially during this time, it's important for people to do that.
Oh yeah. I'm more so concerned about my fans, you know. I know that I've done the work. I'm still doing the work, and that I feel very grounded and I'm okay. But to be able to communicate with the people that are showing me their love and taking the time out of their day to tell me something nice or exciting or whatever it is, it makes all the difference, especially if you are trying to build an audience or a fan base. You need to be attentive to your day ones. You need to answer their messages. You need to include them in your content and think of ways to pay them back, because they're the ones that are allowing you to do what you've been dreaming about your whole life. And so, yeah, I take it very seriously. I try and answer as many messages as possible, as many comments as possible, because they're the people that are taking care of me. So I need to take care of them.
That's awesome. There it is. We're all connected. She just said it. We're all connected. Look out for each other and keep the vibes going. So, Karra, how can we support you? How can we connect you? Give us your social media handles and all that good stuff.
Yeah, so first off, I spell my name Karra, so 2 R's. You can type me in on Spotify. You'll find me. And all of my socials are I am Karra Music. So I am Karra Music. You'll find me there. I'm just starting up on TikTok and Discord and my YouTube channel. It's looking a little weak right now, but we're getting there. I have so much other things to think about. But yeah, find me, connect with me, let me know that you saw this interview, and tell me your favorite parts about it, or what you connected with the most or resonated with the most, and I'd be happy to talk to you about it.
Yes, this was epic. Well, thank you so much. There it is, Festiie Files, Karra Music in the building. Everyone, peace, love, unity, and respect. My name is Desmond Beristain. Festiie Files signing out. Peace.